Well, good morning. And boy, as soon as I start to talk, I got a frog in my throat. Welcome to Zen Live. Beautiful day here in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the universe. But then you too are the center of the universe. Did you know that the computer and the cell phone, the cell phone is a paradigm or a new world that we're living in which your computer is the center of the universe. And then your cell phone is kind of like the Bible. You can take that center, it's portable. So wherever you are, you're God. Wherever you are, you're the center of the universe, the electronic universe, you see? This technology has created a paradigm of a spiritual awakening. It's kind of like a reflection, a material reflection of an internal realization. The non-dual realization of the mystics, the non-dual traditions of the saints and the sages, is all about awakening to the fact that you are the center of the universe. This restores you. This restores us as the center of the universe. Because in the cosmology, if you go to the cosmologists, they'll tell you. Einstein tells you. Quantum physics tells you. There is no single center of the universe. Every point is the center of the universe. The universe is expanding from every point. Just like if you go to a map on the computer and you open up your map and you've put in your particular town or wherever you are in space and time, there's going to be a little X, a little thing that's you. So you can look at that and say, oh, there I am. And then you can zoom in, or you can zoom out. And if you zoom out from that point, you keep going through galaxies and universes and galaxies from that point. Or if you zoom in to the galaxies within, the atoms, the cells, the quarks, and all the different subatomic, you zoom in infinitely, you see, but always at that point, you see. So that point is the center of the universe. That's the one. So anyway, I was sitting on the front porch this morning reading, finishing up my book on Ken Wilber, The Simple Feeling of Being. I'm rereading Ken Wilber. I think I bought all of his books 10, 15 years ago, read them, and I know I read them because I can go through the book and I can see where I underlined it. You know, I had all these underlinings, you know, where I read it before. And you can always tell when your consciousness has expanded, your understanding has expanded, when you go back and read an old book and you see so much more in it. It's like you read between, it's like it's a whole new, you're seeing it for the first time. And so anyway, this last chapter, the brilliant clarity of ever-present awareness, the eye of the spirit. And I was reading that, and it's a real reading. Ken Wilber, particularly this book, is a meditation. And I wrote this poem because right now, you know, I go on my front porch and the mockingbirds and the cardinals are singing, chirping, and the cars, the modern sounds of the cars on my main street go by. And I do sound meditation. I close my eyes. And I just open up the space of witnessing awareness. And I just allow all the sounds to happen as they are. without my investigation or analysis or judgment or naming or labeling. You just relax in the sound. That's an easy meditation because sight, when you open the eyes, you're here and everything else is there. There's a boundary, artificial boundary, but there is a boundary to vision. But when I relax into sound, there's no boundary. I am the sound of the car. I am the sound of the mockingbird. I can sense, that I'm here and that's there. But if I begin to relax that contraction, this sense of separate self, this sense of me that is seeking something, this separation of subject and object, when I relax that, when you just practice relaxing that, and just noticing when you're contracting and looking and searching, when you just begin to relax that, the boundaries between you and the world begin to relax. And you become aware as the world instead of aware of the world. And this awareness as the world is prior to our awareness of the world as a subject. See, we live in this duality of consciousness, which is fine. We have to live here. But it's a subject-object duality. I'm in here. Everything else is out there. Even I'm an object to myself. I'm aware of my energy in my hands. I see my hands. That's an object. My gut gurgles. I laugh. That's an object, you see. But the seer, the witness, is basically empty. It's a clearing. It's awareness as, with no division. Awareness as with no division. And I wrote this. And then in the other, this was on the front porch. But on the other hand, I go into my office and there's Morning Joe, and they're talking about Charlottesville and the shock, the sudden seeing in visual form on TV this sudden wound, the blood on the soil. They're chanting, the nationalists, the Nazis are chanting, blood on soil, blood and soil. Well, there was blood on the soil. A person died. 19 people were injured by this thrust. It's such a metaphorical way. It's this phalanx, this penetration, this marching, this is why we reflect back to the Nazis, this steel, this stab of the spear into the soft body. You see, blood on the soil. This phalanx, the idea of this phalanx, the Greek phalanx, that was the weapon of the Greek army, because they would form a phalanx with their shields. And the pagan and the barbarians, or their enemy, were just like Braveheart, just a bunch of tribes, all you see. And they would form this phalanx, and they would penetrate. They would drive into the body of the tribes and divide them, split them apart, destroy their center, and they would flee, you see. The British Empire did the same thing. The British Empire had a phalanx of marching red soldiers in unison with their bayonets pointed, you see, and they would march right into the tribes. They would just march right in and divide them, you see. And they tried that with the American army, but it didn't work. The phalanx didn't work. So I wrote this poem on the front porch because I'm trying to bring these two hands together, the peace of the front porch, the silent awareness of the birds, and all that my senses bring in, this center of emptiness that I am, that you are. That's the center of the world, not some form, but this center of awareness, this emptiness that is prior to time and form. That is the one without a second. So I wrote, what is this America, this land of the free, that includes all the faces and allows them to be? What is this shadow across the face of our land that blinds us with the upraised hand? This assault on the peace, that division, this division of the land, this cry from the wound in the side of Christ cannot stand. Enough, we say, of Trump and his minions. This shadow over us will have no dominion. So anyway, I just wrote that. And as in my metaphorical mind, in my integrating mind, I try to integrate. Everything just spontaneously wants to integrate. Everything just wants to spontaneously connect so I can see larger wholes, which brings me understanding. So what is America but this empty idea that witnesses all and invites all in, you see? I think America is an idea, America is not just an idea. America is a spiritual realization. America is a spiritual witnessing that includes all, that has no boundaries, that makes no walls, that draws no discrimination, that does not create a me and a you. There is a spirit of America that is essentially divine, that is essentially unity. And that unity is the one without a second. See, if all is unified, is all if one, there is no second. There is nothing excluded. So the very idea, the very principle of America is inclusion, is accepting immigrants, is accepting all Americans as one, you see. But the moment we divide into red and blue, into me and you, then there's the yearning to restore America. Once we wound America, that creates the yearning to restore America. So now, but the whole idea to restore America is based on the assumption that it's lost. But we haven't lost America. We haven't lost emptiness. There's nothing to lose. We are all America, so there is no America to lose. We are all that empty spirit eye that includes all. So there's nothing to lose because there is nothing there. But as soon as you say, I am here, I'm a form, I'm something separate, now I've already divided myself from the world. As soon as I say, I am the one without a second, I am the unique one, I have already created a Trump Tower. Everyone has to be below me. See, I've already lost. So now if I've already lost what I can't lose, that sets up a catch-22. I've been talking about catch-22s. Double bind. Lose, lose. So when we assume we have lost America, which we haven't done, because you can't lose the one that you are. You can't lose what you already are. But if you believe you've lost what you already are, that sets up the catch-22 dynamic so that no matter what you do, you lose. If you're trying to restore what you already have, you create a lose-lose, frustrating tension that will into violence. So what we saw in Charlottesville was the result of a feedback loop of an impossible quest to restore America that cannot be restored. You get the idea for this? If America, you are America, I am America. We're all America. And I'm speaking this in metaphorical terms, very large terms. So we all are the welcoming witness awareness that draws no boundaries in form and says this is good and that's bad. This America is prior to morality. America is prior to division and judgment and separation and segregation and all of these prejudice and bigotry and all of this division, you see. America as a spiritual, and I don't want to use the word idea because it's not an idea. Once you have an idea, you have an opposite idea. You have another duality. So America is beyond ideas. It's beyond form. And it's even beyond spirit, because spirit is an idea. So if it's beyond idea, it's empty. And this is where I come to Zen for a lot of my understanding and vocabulary, you see. This emptiness is like the clear water in a lake of algae. So you can see yourself reflection in the clear water, you see. But it's empty of algae. It's empty of form. So this center of America is kind of like your cell phone. You see, the computer is kind of like a church. Now stay with me. So the computer is, you go to the computer to get on the internet. All right, well, that's like going to a church to get with God. So how do you get with God everywhere, all the time, wherever you are? Well, you take the church with you. So people take a Bible with them. Bible's kind of like a little portable church. Well, that's a religious context. But in the really practical world we live in a computerized world. So the computer is kind of like the church where I can go to get into the internet, where I am the center of the universe. But then I have my cell phone. Now I can go anywhere. Wherever I am, I'm the center of the universe. And I look on the Google map and there I am, right there. And I can zoom out to infinity. But I'm always at the center. But then when I really look at that center, the center is empty. You see? So when I really go inside myself to find out this form that I am, if I really start going zoom, 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 I come up with emptiness. If I zoom out or zoom in, I come to empty. So we're kind of like bookended between these two infinite empties, you see, and all this form and time and everything. But I'm surrounded by emptiness. So this emptiness is prior to me. Out of this emptiness, I create this form, this duality, this me and you see. And then I bring in the morality, in the division, you see. And now I divide this little space into good and bad. And now I got to restore, now I've got this yearning to restore the original unity, restore the original America, when my effort to restore it divides it. That's the catch-22. My effort to restore America, to get rid of the impurities, to get rid of the bad, to get rid of the Democrats, to get rid of the conservatives, to get rid of the other, you see, whatever form the other takes, is the very wound, the very knife that's cutting America into two. It's not that we can't do stuff, get rid of things. It's just that we forget the original emptiness. We forget the original emptiness. We forget the original emptiness is freedom. If you're not attached to and identified with any form, I'm sitting on the front porch and I'm having a sound meditation. I'm not identifying with any one form because when I identify with it, I have to name it. Oh, that's a robin. Well, that's really interesting. I wonder how long the robins are going to stay here. My. That really is, that robin sound is very interesting. And oh, there's a mockingbird, but that I can really tell the robin. And then I'm off thinking about, I'm identifying with that. I'm not aware of I've excluded all the other sounds. All I see now is the object of the robin, you see. I've lost my emptiness. I've lost my inclusiveness. I've lost my receptivity. And I'm focused on one thing, you see, which is fine. Now, we need to be able to tell what a robin is and not a mockingbird. But beneath that, we have to be able to put our if you had 2 feet of a compass, you need to be able to put that one foot in the emptiness, and then the other foot can go where it wants to. But it's always grounded in inclusiveness and understanding and integration, you see. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling, so I just wanted to point out that what seems to me this Charlottesville thing was a very visual connecting of dots, so that it's just not a political movement. Everybody does it. There's violence on all sides. What can we do? Everybody's guilty. No, something different. Connect the dots. Go look at Paris. Oh my God, ISIS has just crashed a truck into a crowd of people. Oh, the horror, the horror. Oh, in Charlottesville, the Nazis just crashed a car into a bunch of people. Well, everybody does it. I mean, it's just a political movement. I mean, they got their grievances. I mean, they were, they're trying to take down that. Why should they take down their statue of General Lee, in the Confederacy, it wasn't about slavery, and so we just kind of like wash it over and okay, we'll just, well, everybody does it, it's free speech, they got the right to do that, so one guy did something crazy, okay, but yada, 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 no. Connect the dots, There's something is trying to wedge America, wedge politics. Started with the GOP back in Movement Conservative with Newt Gingrich and the rest of the whole philosophy and the whole tactics of the extreme right of the Republican Party has been wedge politics, divide and conquer. So the Republican Party has been like a Greek phalanx. They would drive this wedge issue into the body politic, divide the body politic, and reap the rewards. Divide the body politic into us against them, my values against your bad values, abortion, gay rights, whatever the issue, my rights, my value, my me, I'm the patriotic America. You guys are not patriotic. You're anti-God, anti-Christ. You see, the division is there, the war of the worlds, the good versus evil played out in our political system, which is designed to create unity. The political system of our Constitution is a genius operating system that controls violence through compromise. You have the left and the right, you have this and that, and they struggle for their policies, and they come up with a compromise that includes the good parts of both sides, and they create a new America. This is the dialectic of change. This wedge, this phalanx, is centered right at that in order to destroy it. So there is no more compromise. Because compromise with evil, whoa, you can't compromise with the devil, and the other side is evil, so you can't compromise. This is the end of the American spirit. This is the shadow over the eye of God. Thank you. See you later.